Tune into the Salsa Kings Network. Crack one open if you dare, creeps.
Hey, it's me, the Quenchies. I'm that late afternoon craving you just can't shake. Wait, what's that? Welch's Grape Aid? No! Made with real fruit and no added sugar, nothing answers the call of the Quenchies like Grape Aid. Got the Quenchies? Grab a Grape Aid in your juice aisle.
Hey, Red. What you got in the basket, little girl?
Weapons.
Oh.
Just in case. Like the tuck, Xander.
Bond. James Bond. Insurance, in case we get turned into our costumes again. I'm going for a cool secret agent guy.
I hate to break it to you, but you'll probably end up cool head waiter guy.
As long as I'm cool and wield some kind of power.
Will. Medieval Will.
Hail, ye old varlety thou.
I'm Joan of Arc. I figured we had a lot in common, seeing as how I was almost burned at the stake. And plus she had that close relationship with God.
And you are? Of course. I wish I'd thought of that before I put down my deposit. I could have been God. Blasphemer.
Everybody, and welcome to another episode of Boys Watching Buffy. We're just two boys watching every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer for the first time, giving our review, our reactions. We're your hosts. I'm Joe Welke.
I am Vance.
And today we're talking about Season 4, Episode 4, titled Fear Itself, directed by Tucker Gates, written by David Fury. The original air date is October 26, 1999, to an audience of 5.98 million people. It's a big jump from the last episode, and also this is the first episode, I believe, that beats out Angel. It is. It's the first episode that beats out Angel in terms of viewers, so that is certainly something.
They're just going at it. The battle.
Absolutely, the battle of the sexes. And the sexiest.
The sexiest battles.
But before we get into all of that, we've got a couple of freaking shout outs for excellent reviews on Apple Podcasts. Want to give a special excellent thank you shout out to X Beffy. Thanks so much for your glowing review. And also a shout out to Slitheran for a review on the Apple Podcasts. I see that like I said, I think I said it in the last episode, but I saw that our ratings are going up, which is awesome. Love that. Can only give shout outs to reviews though, because we don't see all of like the screen names for when you rate us.
Did anyone DM you screen grabs from Spotify?
I have gotten 0 DMs about that.
Okay. Has anyone DM'd you anything?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Not about this podcast. I mean,
when are we going to start? When are we going to
DMs,
start?
I feel.
No, we said specifically if they're DMing about Spotify.
No, I know that we're talking about that.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think so.
When are we going to start rating the ratings that we get?
Ooh, that'll be drama.
Who had the most well-crafted review?
Yeah. Oh, you had a little bit of, you didn't capitalize after the period. We need some grammatical.
Take off a point for spelling errors. No, it's these reviews have been great. I really enjoy reading them because they're all so different and unique.
Yeah, they're awesome. They make me feel good in the tummy. I love it. Mm-hmm. So thank you so much for all of the support and good reviews and everything that you guys are talking about. And speaking of support and good times, now would be a good time to remind you that we have a Patreon for where we do our Patreon exclusive podcast, Boys Watching Angel, which is kind of a companion piece to Boys Watching Buffy. We're reviewing every episode of Angel. It's our first time watching that as well. And it's been good times.
What if that wasn't? What if we only watched Angel?
Yeah.
We didn't watch Buffy.
That'd be wild. So we have that. We also have an additional tier where we do Angel, and plus we're doing a movie a month. We've had a little discussion about what movies we should be doing and what movies you guys would want to hear us do. So good stuff. Anything else at the top here, Vance, or should we just get into Fear itself?
Let's get into Fear itself. Let's do it.
Alrighty, so this episode starts off with a recap of everything that's happened so far this season. Buffy hooking up with Parker, getting played. Xander hooking up with Anya, not getting played, but she's feeling like she's getting played. And then those sniper people with the sniper rifles.
They're not necessarily sniper. They're like assault rifles. But
yeah, the military people.
But they keep showing them. They are the. It's one of those things where you know it's going to come and be interesting, but they just keep popping up and being useless. Like, not useless, but like they show up and you're like, oh, there they are.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, is this going to be the episode where they... no.
Watch them end up being the principal Snyder of this season.
Well, I was thinking, I mean, it's kind of like the mayor, about how Snyder would always mention the mayor. And then
but the mayor paid off, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, these guys are obviously going to pay off.
Yeah, maybe. I mean...
You think they're not going to pay off?
I think they've been building them up too much. Like, we've seen them 3 times already in 4 episodes, I feel like.
Yeah. And it's just like a little hint, like a little tiny scene of them.
Yeah, and we haven't seen any more of them. It's not like progressively we get more information. It's like, oh, they still are on campus.
Yeah, they're just walking around with their guns and their masks and balaclava, and then you see them, and then they're gone.
At this point, Parker's more of a ticking time bomb than they are.
So yeah, we get that little recap. And the episode opens up with Xander, Willow, Oz, and Buffy at Xander's basement apartment situation. And they're all carving jack-o'-lanterns. It's a Halloween episode, everybody. And they're all like, oh my God, Xander, your jack-o'-lantern looks a little weird. And Xander's like, yeah, it looks a little sardonic. And then we pan over to Buffy, who is just sitting there putting her hands in the pumpkin insides, making that like disgusting, like
they
noise.
Definitely up that sound effect. That sound effect was so heightened. It was like
it was so gross. But they're all like, Buffy, what's the deal? You haven't even, you look like you're not having fun. And she's like, why even bother? Life... It must be nice to be a pumpkin. You get to grow up and you're surrounded by other pumpkins, and pumpkins are awesome. But then, you just get stabbed and all your insides get taken out, and it must suck. I was looking at her like, whoa.
Yeah, I think Oz says post-Parker depression, which is a pretty good line.
Yeah. And Xander's like, all right, well, let's brighten up the mood here. I got a movie that's gonna put the tingles in our spine, the bumps in our geese. Here we go. I got it from the video store. It is Fantasia.
For our younger listeners, a video store was a place that you used to go to. It was like Netflix in real life, where you would go and you would have to pick out a video, a VHS, maybe a DVD.
You'd spend just the same amount of time trying to pick out what you were going to rent.
Yeah. But you normally rented something. It wasn't like Netflix where you'll spend half an hour looking for something and then just watch a rerun of Friends.
Yeah. But Xander picks out Fantasia, and he's like, oh no, this isn't it. Stupid video store guy. I was supposed to get the Phantasm. And then Buffy's like, you know what? I'm not really feeling that right now. And everybody else is like, yeah, we shouldn't watch Fantasia. And Oz is like, maybe it's because of all of the crazy shit that we've seen living here. But Fantasia doesn't sound too spooky to me.
Yeah, hippos and tutus doesn't seem all that scary.
Yeah.
I remember watching that movie when I was younger and being very bored with it.
It's a very boring movie.
I don't know what I was expecting.
I mean, there is that spooky part with
it's not supposed to be a
big
scary
gargoyle
movie.
guy.
It's not supposed to be
Chernabog.
scary.
Chernabog's scary though. With the
I just remember Mickey Mouse,
Sorcerer's Apprentice,
and the mops and the brooms or whatever.
Yeah, that's the one with the big evil guy, isn't it? No, it's not.
It's a bunch of little vignettes in that, right? That's what fancy. Yeah, it's whatever.
It's okay. It's whatever.
It's not meant to be horror.
Disney classic.
Yeah.
But then this is where Oz is like, well, you know what'll get us in the mood for spooky season? Is Frat House is having a crazy spooky party. They have a Halloween party every year and they go all out. They make it into like a haunted house attraction and you walk through and all this crazy stuff happens. And then at the end, there's a gigantic party. Mm-hmm. And everyone's like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. And then Xander's like, wait a minute, how come I didn't hear about this? And they're like, because you don't go to college, loser. And he's like, oh.
This is where it all starts. It's like, get in debt, you loser. Don't take a treat.
Yep. But Xander feels out of the loop. And they're like, Xander, the only reason we haven't told you is because you're not around campus, blah, blah, blah. You're totally invited. And he's like, well, I'm coming then.
It's the best thing if you're not in college and your friends are in college because you get to do all the partying without any of the schooling. At the beginning.
Okay, I was going to say.
I mean, not like. I mean, we're talking about like right out of high school. What are you?
Look, I mean, I didn't remember this until later on in this episode, but one of the frat guys calls Xander a townie. And I forgot what an insult that is when you're living in a college town and like people that don't go to the school are like at the bar or at the parties or something. They're like, oh, this is some fucking townie. I was like, oh, yeah.
That's weird, though, because you actually chose to go to the college in the little small town.
Yeah.
That seems weirder.
I don't know.
It's not like you would never say that if you went to NYU. You wouldn't be like, oh. You're just a city.
Just townie.
Just townie. You're actually from New York, loser. Like,
yeah. I mean, I remember people calling people townies when I went to Maryland. Because, like, if you just like,
well, College Park, Maryland is a very specific spot. Yeah. It's not really It's not Baltimore. It's not.
Yeah. No, DC. It's not like it's a little bit outside of DC, but even still, like, if you're, I don't know. The townies in College Park were weird.
I'm just saying, like, Sunnydale is small, but at least you get to go to the parties.
True.
Yeah.
Fair. Otherwise, where else would you go? The Bronx? Ew.
That's for high schoolers, I guess.
Except for last episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is when Buffy's like, I don't really feel like going to that party, guys. You know, I'm feeling sad. I'm just going to leave. So Buffy leaves, and then all of the gang is like, man, I feel really bad for Buffy. This Parker guy, like, he really did a number on her, and we should slap him next time we see him. They're like, all in favor? Aye.
Is this where she mentioned killing him, or was that later?
That's later.
Okay. Willow's wilding out.
Yeah, Willow hates this Parker guy.
She's going to end up sleeping with him.
That'd be hilarious. Oh, that'd be hilarious. Okay, so Buffy now is walking home alone at night, and she's walking on the one studio set that they have with the cinema and the espresso pump.
Because somehow walking, I guess she's going to walk from the movie theater back to the 5 mile away campus with no car because she doesn't have a car or a license. Yeah.
But as she's walking alone and she's like feeling bad for herself, a demon jumps out. He goes, rah, rah. And then Buffy punches it in the face and it falls to the ground. And it's just a guy in a demon mask. He pulls off the mask. He goes, what the hell's your problem, lady? This guy should know better.
This is insane. You don't jump out and scare someone, get hit, and then go, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, what the hell's your problem?
If Buffy would have killed him, we would have had a whole weird Faith situation again.
Yeah.
Where I said Faith stabbing the guy wasn't the problem because he jumped out and scared her during it's just her reaction to it.
I'm just like, it's not Halloween yet. Like, people don't do this before Halloween. It's also an empty
Who scares Who scares? And this actor's black too, and this actor is actually really like famous now.
Who is it?
I went into IMDb because there's another character on here later that I had to make sure was who it is. Mm-hmm. The Black Power Ranger's in this episode.
That's the Black Power Ranger?
This isn't the Black Power Ranger.
Yeah. I was going to say that was him later.
Yeah. So that's why I had to look up to confirm. But the guy with the mask, his name is Aldous Hodge, and he's in the Black Adam movie as Hawkman.
Shit.
He's also plays Jim Brown in One Night in Miami. And he was on the show Leverage that was on TNT forever. So you probably saw promos for that maybe and never watched the show.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But no, he's in Black Adam.
I thought that the fucking frat guy looked familiar.
That frat guy is the Black Power Ranger.
Zach from Power Rangers.
That is Walter Jones.
What a name, too. Yeah. That's like an old-timey name.
It's like an old black guy's name.
But yeah, this guy jumps out and he gets punched. But it's like nobody does this in real life.
It's really just a setup. What's wrong with you, lady? And she's like, that's what I want to know. And it's like, oh, Buffy.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Buffy, you know what's wrong with you? You dated a vampire for 4 years.
Right.
Not 4 years, but whatever. You dated a vampire and slept with a vampire.
Like two. You lost your virginity to a vampire.
You're a slayer. You lost your virginity to a vampire, and that's pretty much.
Yeah, that'll do it. So then we get the theme song, and then Buffy and Willow are talking. They're in line at the school's cafeteria. And Willow is talking to Buffy about like, I feel like I kind of plateaued as a witch, my skills. I've been doing all of these studies and, I've kind of got the hang of X, Y, and Z, like floating stuff and basic stuff. But I can't really get the hang of like this more complex spells.
Like turning Amy back into a human.
Yeah, we haven't really fucking talked about that in a bit.
Yeah. Is she around still? What's going on?
Yeah,
What's going on? Because I will say this episode has so many references to past stuff to the point where I was like, chill. I was like, chill out episode. Like their references. Like I like the references, but they like started going overboard with it.
Yeah, they had like 4 or 5 references.
Yeah, I was like, one. Chill out.
Yeah. But Buffy's like, well, I don't know, maybe you'll figure it out, Willow. If not, just give up. Willow's like, wait a what?
I know that was the whole reason you stayed in Sunnydale, but yeah, stop.
Yeah. And Willow's like, what's your deal, dude? And she's like, oh, I thought this was like a share our pain conversation, not a lift you up conversation. And then they keep talking and Oz shows up. And he's like, yeah, I'm actually kind of worried about you doing these more intense spells too, because, I turn into a werewolf. And when I turn into a werewolf, I tap into something deep and dark inside of me. And I don't like it. And I'm worried about that happening to you. But if you choose to keep going, I'll support you. And Willow's like, I like this.
Is he best boyfriend ever?
He's best character in this show.
Yeah.
Like morally, best person, logically, the best person.
Yeah, there's no one that has a stronger moral center than him.
Yeah, he has no flaws. Except that he's a werewolf, but...
Werewolf and a little like, like his like one-liner, no emotion kind of thing.
Yeah.
His like disconnect a little bit, but it's not really that big of an issue.
It's weird because like every other character has a flaw.
Oh, Giles has flaws. Xander, Buffy, absolutely. Willow too. Like
but Oz has nothing.
He hasn't been morally compromised yet.
Yeah, I want to see him.
I feel like he will. Even when he got cheated on, he was still like high roading.
He was like, I need to take some time to think about this.
Yeah, he's never gone after
forgave
Xander.
Her.
He's never gone after Xander. They still hang out.
Yeah. They're boys now.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. Did you notice that Buffy and Willow have on like chokers?
Yes.
It was like really interesting that they both had them on.
Generally, I'm a fan of chokers, so that's maybe why I didn't.
I don't see them that often.
They had a comeback a couple years ago, and now they're gone again.
But I didn't see like in this show. And in the 2000s, I don't feel like chokers were.
Well, I mean, it's 1999, Vance.
99
show.
99, 2000. Oh, 99, the year of the choker.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly. Don't you remember?
Sorry. Moving on.
Yeah. So Oz is like, oh yeah, I support you, and then Willow's like, oh, you're the best, and Buffy they all turn to go like get a seat to eat, and Buffy sees Parker yucking it up with his buds, and she's like, I fucking can't.
It's like a cutaway. It's like a cutaway in like some an old school cigarette commercial. like they're like, I don't know, they're all just laughing at like. None of them has told a joke. They're just all laughing.
Yeah. I mean, they're all yucking it up. And Buffy's like, oh, they're all laughing at me, probably.
He's already banged like 3 other girls since you. Like, it's fine.
I know.
You could sit down.
So Buffy leaves the cafeteria. Willow goes after her. And she's like, Buffy, is it because Parker? Don't let Parker ruin the rest of your entire college experience. And Buffy's just like, Willow, I can't today. Okay. I just can't. I'm tired of coping and dealing with this. I just don't want to be around anymore. And Willow's like, you know what you should do? You should come to that party that we're going to at the frat house. Maybe you could find some new schmuck to hook up with. And Buffy's like, I don't want to hook up with any new schmucks.
Yeah.
And Willow's like, well, you're going to have to hook up with a new schmuck eventually, Buffy.
I don't know. Buffy's good for like a hookup every year or 2.
Yeah. Oh, man. But then Buffy's like, no, I can't. Besides, I have the feeling Giles is going to want me to go out on patrol. And Willow's like, why do you have that feeling? And Buffy's like, well, you know. He always wants me to go out on patrol and never wants me to do fun stuff. So I guess I'm just going to go out on patrol.
Yeah, when she said that, she was like, oh, it's Halloween, so I'm going to go out on patrol. And I was just like, Halloween is not a time where anything happens.
Yeah, I distinctly remember like from previous seasons, like, oh yeah, Halloween is the no-go season. Yeah. Like, we don't do anything. It's all good.
And they bring that up as one of the first references that happens in the show.
They bring that up almost immediately, because then Buffy knocks on Giles' door. She's like, I'm going to go to Giles' house. I know he doesn't give a shit about Halloween. Knocks on his door, and he's dressed in a full sombrero, like crazy, I
don't know what the
poncho outfit.
Yeah, it's just full-on appropriation. This is a full-on appropriation costume era.
Oh, yeah.
Because
no one's getting canceled.
Because later the frat boy has on like dreads and a Jamaican hat.
Yeah. But Giles opens the door. He's like, Happy Halloween! And Buffy's like, what the
Who was trick-or-treating
trick-or-treating
that early, dude?
I know, it was daytime.
I'm like, it's not... Yeah, no one goes trick-or-treating on this.
You know what? I feel like nowadays people do trick-or-treat during the day.
No, not in 99.
Yeah, back in 99, we trick-or-treated at night. Fucking G's, all right? None of this pipsqueak bullshit that they're doing now.
Home
Trunk
by 6.
or treat.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Your safe environments. I was getting daggers in my Milky Ways.
Every local news report was like, watch out, there's razor blades and everything.
Yeah. But Giles opens the door, and Buffy's like, what the hell is up with you? Why do you do this? You hate Halloween. And Giles is like, well, I only didn't partake because I had to do my watcher duties, but I actually kind of enjoy the festivities. And he has a little decoration. He's like, look at this guy. And he pulls it open, and it starts shaking me like, rah. And he's like, it's alive.
Happy Giles is weird. Happy Giles
Buffy's looking at him like he's got 3 heads. She's like, what is this?
Not a fan of Happy Giles.
It is weird. I like sassy Giles. I like concerned Giles. I like fatherly Giles. But Happy Giles is a little weird.
There's a Giles that shows up later that I'm a big fan of.
Yeah. But yeah, Buffy is like, Giles, I think I should go on patrol. What's the patrol for tonight? And Giles is like, Buffy, you know that nothing happens on Halloween. Vampires take the night off for Halloween. And Buffy's like, well, we can never be too sure. I mean, remember that one Halloween where Ethan Rain turned us all into our costumes? And Giles is like, I mean, yeah, but nobody could have predicted that. don't you go and take a break? Why don't you have fun? Go to some party. Don't you have anything to do? Buffy's like, no.
Giles is like, I don't have any friends in town, and I still feel like less of a loser than you.
Yeah.
All of my friends are college kids that I met in high school. I don't even have a job. Like,
yeah, I'm a bum right now. But Buffy's like, okay, fine, whatever. Then we go over to the frat guys, and they're getting ready for their spooky party. And this is where, Zach, the Power Ranger's walking through the house, and they're all getting ready, and they have this like jump scare type of guy, little skeleton guy with a knife that pops out behind a door. And I swear to God, the guy that's talking to Zach, the frat guy that's talking to Zach, it looks like he has a terrible wig on. Am I wrong? His hair looked weird.
I didn't notice the hair, but he looked familiar. He looked like this one actor, and I was like trying to figure out like who he was without going too deep in IMDb while I was just there, because I had to make sure that was a Power Ranger, and I wasn't crazy.
I can't believe you watched the Power Rangers. That seems like it was like a little out of your age range.
I don't think I sat and watched it regularly. I do remember the movie came out.
Oh, with the goo guy, the purple guy?
Yeah, like the original movie, not the one that came out fairly recently with like Cranston in them.
No, that one was terrible.
I didn't. Yeah. And Power Rangers were, basically they just used the footage from like the Asian show and then just cut in the real life people.
It was Ivan Ooze. That was the guy's name.
No, I mean, I knew it. I was, I knew of it because I had watched Voltron a bit, and it was basically Voltron.
Yeah.
I just knew it, I didn't know his name was Zach.
There's one scene where he just like breakdance beats up a bunch of people.
Yeah, he was the Black Power Ranger. There's a great Key and Peele sketch about that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, they're like, yeah, this freaking party's gonna be sick, bro. We're gonna scare the girls that come to the party into our arms, and we're all gonna get laid. And Zach is like, man, is it all about getting laid? And the frat guy's like, Arbor Day isn't about getting laid.
Yeah, he was like, what holiday isn't about getting laid? He's like, Arbor Day. That's kind of funny.
Yeah. But then he's like, I think I'm going to paint a demonic symbol up at the top room.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you wanted a symbol painted? Look what I found. And he opens a book that I have no idea how he just has access to.
Yeah.
With the demonic symbol. And he's like, yeah.
I'm going to paint this bad boy on there.
Won't read the page in front of it or behind it.
Nope.
No one decides to read anything around it.
Does no one... This whole fucking thing about the whole high school blowing up because of a demon, like, did no one hear anything about this?
Oh,
like,
these guys are from out of town, man. They're not some townies. They flew.
True. You're right. When you're right, you're right.
Did you read all the newspaper articles when you were going to College Park to see what was happening around town? No.
Oh, God. But yeah, he's got a demonic symbol. And then, like, as soon as you see the demonic symbol, it's like, dude, don't do this. This isn't a good idea.
You would think that this would be enough, but then they ratchet it up even more. Like, there's even more things that have to go wrong.
So after that scene, we have Xander in his basement, and he's getting ready to go out. He's got his little jacket on, and he goes to walk up the stairs, and Anya is at the bottom of the stairs, and he's like, whoa, Anya, whoa, hey, whoa. What are you doing here? You got to learn how to knock. And she's like, your uncle let me in. He smelled like peppermint. And he's like, oh, Uncle, I forget his name, Rumi or something, Rodney. He likes the schnapps. And Anya's basically like...
How do you get drunk off of peppermint schnapps? You have to drink so much.
That is the one thing. So I've never drank or smoked in my entire life,
but you've gotten high off of peppermint schnapps?
I did have a mixed drink with peach schnapps in it because the guy that was making it was my friend, and he forgot that I don't drink or smoke, and he was like, hey, I can make you a fucking... I kept asking him for Shirley Temple. He's like, I can make you something better than Shirley Temple. And they made me a drink with peach schnapps. And I was like, this tastes kind of weird, man. But I
this
drank
tastes like fun and happiness.
I kept drinking it just because I didn't want to be rude to him, And then I was like, all right. And I drank it. And then he was like, you want me to make you another one? And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And I watched him make it. And I was like, dude, what are you doing? And he was like, what? This is how it's made. And I saw him put the shit out. I was like, I don't drink. He's like, oh my God, I'm so fucking sorry. I forgot.
You had to turn in your chip.
Yep. And then I fell off the wagon, started... ended up in a ditch that night.
Yeah, top of one snaps.
Yep. But Anya's basically like, so it's been 1 week since we've had sex and you haven't called. And Xander's like, I thought that you were over me. And she's like, yeah, I might have said that, but I'm not. And why would you assume that I'm over you? And he's like, because I do that stupid thing where I take people for what they say. I take it at face value. And she's like, well, that's stupid. And he goes, I'll take that at face value.
Yeah.
But she's basically like, but what are we, Xander? Come on. And Xander's like, dude, I mean, I don't know. I'm happy that you're here. I like that. And she's like, well, I don't know. What are you doing for Halloween? Or like, maybe we should go out tonight. He's like, well, I actually have plans with my friends. And Anya's like, I don't even know why you hang out with those people. And Xander's like, what do you mean? And she's like, you don't have anything in common with them. They go to college. You don't. They don't live at home anymore. You do. And Xander's like, these are all fucking temporary things. And like, it doesn't mean that we're not friends anymore.
He's really hurt. And she does bring up like, hey, I'm just asking. Like it's like she's genuinely curious. It was like the anti-Cordelia. Like Cordelia would say that just knowing it hurts you, but not caring. She said it because she's like, I don't understand people.
Well, I don't understand this characterization of her. She's like a robot now, like an alien that's never, like she's been around people. Yeah, I mean,
we can get to the end. The big end of this scene is like him. He eventually says, I'm going to the party. Do you want to come with me? Is it like a date? He's like, it's date-ish. And then he's like, oh, get a costume, And she's like, what? Like something scary. She's like, what? And he's like, you've been a demon for thousands of years, scaring guys and torturing them and terrorizing them. I think you can figure it out.
Yeah.
Like she seems like she has no clue.
Yeah, it's like she forgot everything about people. Like she also is talking like a robot. She's like, what are these emotions that you are like, fuck, what?
Yeah, I think that she would like, I think dealing with emotions would be tricky, but I think she would know what they are since she has played on emotions to get people to make wishes. Like she knew Cordelia would make the wish because she was hurt because he broke up with her or cheated on her. So she would know, oh, cheating on someone hurts your feelings. Like, yeah, it's a
weird characterization.
Yeah. It's fun to see Xander play off of it though.
It is. I enjoy this little relationship that's budding, and yeah. So I did like that she was like, it's been 1 week since our copulation. It's our anniversary. But yeah.
I think we dealt with this in our last podcast, Boys Watching Girls, where it's like anniversary means year.
Yep.
We just throw that word around.
Yeah, it's annual. Anniversary. Annual. But yeah, so from here we go to Buffy walking into Professor Walsh's class. The demon bitch monster from hell or whatever if you're on her bad side, which Buffy definitely is.
Yeah, all the TAs call her that behind her back somehow, which is, whatever.
Which she never knew or she knows about or whatever.
Maybe the guys with the guns are going to shoot her.
They're all our former TAs.
They get the same amount of screen time. Like, she shows up and she's like, meh. And then the gun people are like, we're pointing guns at people. And it's like, if they collide, that'd be awesome.
But Buffy goes in and she's like, hey, can I get the assignments for the last couple of classes I have been skipping because of personal reasons? And Maggie Walsh looks at Buffy and she's like, well, your head's still attached, your limbs are still attached, so your personal reason can't be too fucking serious. It's like, maybe your dad died or something like that.
I know. I was like, whoa, there's so many different reasons. And also, it's a college course.
Also, you're a psychology teacher. You should be the one like that knows most about like this kind of stuff,
100%. Oh, It's almost like I'm dealing with some PTSD. Like soldier comes back, he's like, "Oh, your limbs are still there. I don't know what's wrong with you."
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Weak ass.
I wish Buffy would have been like, maybe your limbs won't be attached if you keep talking to me like that. I want to see Buffy just go wild. I want her to be the bully that they thought she was in high school. Just start running this college.
That'd be sick.
Yeah.
Just Buffy the bully on campus.
Yeah.
But Maggie Walsh is like, look, your personal problems are not my concern. You better start coming to class. Otherwise, you're out. Which I don't think that you can do that.
I mean, you got to take the test. As long as you pass the test, and
yeah.
I don't know. There's stuff. It's very...
In college, you don't need like perfect attendance or anything.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Like I remember people skipping shit all the time.
Once you learn in college that you could skip stuff, and then there's always someone like, well, you're paying for these classes. You don't want to skip them. You're like, oh, I mean, that's nice.
That's the only way I passed is because I went to all of my classes, but I never studied outside of classes.
I think that's the problem.
But I did well.
Yeah.
I did well, man.
Studying outside of classes.
Yeah. Whatever. So Maggie Walsh leaves in a huff, and Buffy is just standing there with Riley, the TA. And Riley is like, she's not messing around, you know. She will give you the boot. And Buffy's like, yeah, I think she told me that for the laugh. And then Riley is like, here's the assignments.
Sad Buffy. I don't like sad Buffy either.
Yeah. I don't like sad people.
Sad mopey Buffy is not my favorite Buffy.
Hey, sad people, cheer up.
Pull yourself up by the bootstraps. What are you doing?
But yeah, Buffy's like doing her looking at the ground thing, and Riley gives her the assignments. He's like, here. And he's like, look, I feel like you're the type of person, you're really hard on yourself. And Buffy's like, you have no idea.
Again, these are psychology majors.
Yeah.
They're diagnosing this stuff so randomly.
Yeah.
I don't know you very well, Buffy, but it seems like you're really hard on yourself. I know you just said you left for personal reasons.
Yeah. But he's like, you have you're not getting your priorities straight. You're skipping classes. You're going to do whatever you're doing. And here's the assignment. She's like, all right, I'm going to work on these tonight. And he's like, tonight? Tonight's Halloween. Why are you doing... Why are you getting your priorities straight on Halloween? You go out and party.
And Halloween can be any day of the week. It's not like it's a weekend.
Yeah. But he's like, you should go out and party. And Buffy's like, maybe I will. I don't know. What are you doing? And he's like, I'm going to be grading papers. And she's like, oh, sounds really scary.
I thought he was joking when he said that. And then he sits down behind the desk to start grading papers. And then I had a thought. Do TAs grade papers?
Yeah.
So what does the professor do?
Nothing. They got tenure. Maggie Walsh has tenure, dude. You think she gives a fuck?
So this is a multiple choice question test, or is this or are these like actual like written answers that he's just like? If it's a multiple choice one, he could be like, okay, I can grade who got what right, who got what wrong. But if this is like a written thing. You kind of need the teacher to...
I think that's what the TAs do.
So what does the teacher do? Just write the lesson plans?
I guess so.
I don't know. All right.
Whatever. I don't like this Riley guy, to be honest with you.
I think he's going to be around a bit.
He definitely is going to be around a bit. He's boring as shit. He's a wooden actor.
He's got a unique look. Unique-ish look. I mean, he looks like a TV actor, though. That's what I mean. Like he doesn't look like a normal person.
I think he looks just bland in terms of TV actor. Like Parker was a hot guy.
I hope that this guy has some type of weird superpower.
He better, dude. This guy's too boring.
Yeah.
He's too boring.
Yeah, if he eats Maggie's brain or something, he's like, I'm sorry. She's like, oh my God, I need this. Yeah.
But yeah, he gives her a pep talk, and Buffy's like, thanks for the pep talk. And he's like, I wasn't joking. And she's like, I wasn't either. Thank you. Boring. So then Xander and Oz are delivering a speaker to the frat house for the party, and they're upstairs where the guy is a different dude. This is not the same guy painting the pentagram, is it?
Yeah.
It doesn't look like him.
Oh no, it's a different
It's Chaz.
Yeah, it's a different guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Chaz is painting this pentagram. Xander and Oz bring up the speaker, and they're like, Oz always got the hookup with the cool speaker shit.
I love he's like the frat dude. Like, it's so funny because Oz wouldn't be the frat guy person, no. But he has the connection because of the sound of gear. Yeah.
So they're like, yeah, check out this spooky pentagram we painted. And Oz is like, whoa, cool. And Xander's like, whoa, what you got going on there? And then the frat guy is like, oh, are you coming to the party? And or something happens.
Well, no, there's a big moment where in the episode where he sees Jello and he saves the day because he has zero attention span. Mm-hmm. This is the opposite, where he's about to ask where they figured out where they got the design from, and they're pointing to the book, and he's like, ooh, grapes.
Yeah.
Because if he looked at the book, maybe he would have glanced through and been like, this is one of these Giles's books. Maybe we shouldn't play around with this.
Yeah.
You know, so we have a little bit of that.
But yeah, this is also where the frat guy calls Xander a townie, and Xander's a little hurt by it. And Oz is going to go fix something with the speaker with a gigantic fucking knife.
Well, he pulls out a little like flip knife, and he's listening. He's like, oh, and he pulls out the knife, and a close up on the knife. And I was like, oh, he's going to use this later in the episode. No, he just cuts his hand trying to strip a wire, which I think Oz would be better at than that. Like, he really cut his hand to the point where, like,
it's dripping
lots
blood.
Of blood is dripping out of it, not like a small cut.
Yeah, and some of Oz's blood drips onto the pentagram. And then the pentagram starts making the ground all wavy, and a plastic spider comes to life.
Well, and that was the thing where it was like, oh, I thought the pentagram would be enough, but it's like, we need the pentagram, and then we need the blood. And it was like, oh, okay. And this scene was like, just so they knew where the room in the book was. But the blood was like an extra. Because I thought it would be like specific to Oz now because it's his blood, but it's not really.
Well, I was just wondering how no one noticed that the floor was shaking.
Maybe that was just for us.
Maybe. I don't know. But like, a guy is sitting on the ground, on top of the waving ground.
I think that might have just been visually.
That's for us. Okay.
We'll just say that before we get into like a long nitpick debate.
So then we go to Buffy's home, and Joyce is sewing Buffy a costume. It's a little Red Riding Hood costume.
She wore that before, didn't she? No, I guess she wore, that was the cloak that she wore. Because they had the Little Red Riding Hood theme in the Kralik episode.
No, that was just a coat.
That was like a coat, but it was like red. And remember, he put it on himself?
Yeah.
And it was outside. So I think she like took that coat and put a hood on it or something. Because it looks like the exact same like red.
No, this is different. Because Buffy's mom talks about how like it's the Halloween costume she wore 5 or 6 years ago. Right. So they're reminiscing about old Halloweens, and you know, your dad used to love to take you going trick-or-treating, and Buffy's like, you didn't love taking me enough.
This is the point where I was like, oh man, they're really going in leaps and bounds. Parker did his thing, and now it's like, I guess Parker didn't love me, so my dad doesn't love me either. I was like, geez, she is spiraling.
Yeah, she's talking to her mom like, is this what happens when you open up with men? They just always fucking bail on you.
And then we get another reference.
Yep. Joyce is like, look, when I first moved to Sunnydale, I was scared of making friends, and you know, I'll always be here for you, but you know, it took me a while to open up after the divorce, and then, you know, like the first boyfriend I got after the divorce turned out to be a homicidal robot. And we're like, okay, Ted.
And I always thought that she never knew what happened to him.
Yeah.
Because she thought he was
I'm sure Buffy let her
eventually told her. Yeah. I guess once she told her that I'm a slayer, I was like, can we explain some of the stuff that's happened? It's like, oh yeah, you know that guy.
Remember that guy you were dating? He was a robot.
Do the police think he was a robot? Because they think she killed him, a guy. They think she kicked him down the steps.
¿Hablas español?
Sprichst du Deutsch?
Komm du noch?
If you've heard that sound from Babbel before, I bet you do. Babbel is the science-backed language learning app that actually works. With quick 10-minute lessons handcrafted by over 200 language experts, Babbel gets you on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. With over 16 million subscriptions sold and a 20-day money-back guarantee, just start speaking another language with Babbel. Right now, up to 55% off your Babbel subscription at babbel.com/Spotify podcast. Spelled BABBEL.com/Spotify podcast. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Curious about lip filler? Whether you want a subtle pout or bold plump, Juvederm lip fillers can give you a customized lip look. Juvederm Volbella XC and Juvederm Ultra XC can last up to a full year with optimal treatment, giving your lips added volume for smooth, natural-looking and long-lasting results. Whether you're concerned about your thin lips or simply want fuller lips, ask about Juvederm lip fillers at your next appointment with your licensed specialist. And download the Ally app, that's ALLE, the official loyalty program of Juvederm, to save on treatments. For important safety information and to find a licensed specialist, visit Juvederm.com. That's JUVEDERM.com. Not for people with severe allergic reactions, allergies to lidocaine, or the proteins used in Juvederm. Common side effects include injection site redness, swelling, pain, tenderness, firmness, lumps, bumps, bruising, discoloration, or itching. There's a risk of unintentional injection into a blood vessel, which can cause vision abnormalities, blindness, stroke, temporary scabs, or scarring. Talk to a licensed specialist to find out if it's right for you.
Yeah, but, Buffy and her mom kind of bond over having trust issues, but Joyce is like, well, look, dude, you've got your friends, you've got me, I'm always there for you. You got Mr. Giles. She should have made another reference, like, who I've also banged. But you've got a good support system around you. Don't even worry about it. Have fun tonight, and we'll all be here for you, and you'll have to open up eventually or whatever.
She says there's nothing to be afraid of.
Dun, dun, dun. So then we have like a weird kind of montage of people getting ready for the party and the party getting started. Willow's dressed up like a Joan of Arc, and she's on the phone. She's like, no, I'll meet you at your place. I guess it's Oz. Then we got the frat party jumping off.
I just wanted to mention that Willow walks out of her room after this phone call, walks down the hall. There's a black guy in a blonde wig who's like, hey, stopping by the room later?
And I was like cross-dressed as a lady.
I don't know what he's supposed to be dressed up as. It just seems like he's in a blonde wig, and it wasn't like a specific outfit.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like, I don't care. Yeah, but it was like he knew, like a lady. But he like knew Willow, like they were cool.
Well, what's even weirder is what happens directly after that.
Yes. Where I'm like, are we supposed to, like, is this the guy that leaned out of his room that time? It was like some people are trying to study. Is that the same actor?
I have no idea. But Willow keeps walking, and she walks past this guy dressed up as a giant lobster, fighting with his girlfriend, who is dressed as a Christmas present.
I think so, yeah.
And she's like, I saw you flirting with her. And the lobster guy is like, I told you she means nothing to me. I love you. And the girlfriend's like, whatever.
Yeah.
Why? And that doesn't have to do with at all with anything that happens.
Hallway walk is like, we could just cut that out.
I just don't know what that was about.
I was like, are those people going to be at the party? And they're not.
Yeah, that's what I was like, what? I completely forgot about it. I just didn't write a note about it because I was like, if this happens later, like whatever.
Yeah.
But you don't see that lobster guy or the present girl again.
Or the guy that invited her to the house or the room party or whatever. Like, yeah.
Strange. Maybe there'll be characters later on. Who knows?
I mean, this is the scene where normally you have the people with the guns just walk by them.
Yeah.
It seems like that random of a hallway.
But then we go to the frat party, and this is where the party started, and the frat guys are doing their spooky stuff where they blindfold girls, and then they tell them to put their hands in stuff. And it's the guy with the Rastafarian dreadlocks costume, and he's like, hey, babe, why don't you put your hand into this bowl? And she's like, ew, what is it? And it's like skinned grapes. He's like, they're eyeballs. And she's like, whatever, stop. You're so gross. And then she takes off the blindfold, and in her hands are actual eyeballs. And then everybody starts freaking the fuck out.
It's funny because he's not blindfolded and he didn't notice that they were eyeballs.
Well, he was just looking at her ear seductively.
Yeah. I looked at my note and I wrote down in my late night haze of a bowl full of eyebrows. Which would have been a lot scarier.
Dude, do you know how diligent you have to be to take the skin off of grapes and have a whole bowl of them?
Yeah.
That's a lot of work.
Hey, that's what the pledges are for.
Fair. Very true. Very true.
That would be a Joe Walkie job. Oh, you're not drinking? You're peeling grapes.
I remember when I was living in the frat house, not in the frat, living in the frat house, I lived with one of the frat guys, and it was like the hazing week or whatever. And one of the pledges came in and was like, hey, what do you want me to do? The brothers asked me to ask you, like, if you have any kind of like assignment you want me to do. And he was like, yeah, I want you to go down into the basement and count the number of tiles that are on the floor. And it was like, like a 2-inch by 2-inch tile. Mm-hmm. And the pledge was like, are you fucking serious? He was like, yup. The kid went down.
That's
and
when you just make up a number.
Well, he came back like 5 minutes later and he made up a number. He was like, this many.
And then he didn't wait enough time. That's too little.
Exactly. Time. The brother was like, that was definitely not enough time for you to count all those. Go back and count them again.
That's just bad. Like, that's a nice test of how stupid that kid is.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You tell me, if you're like, oh, count tiles, I'm like, good. That's like a nice 2 hours I got to do nothing.
Yep. Go take a nap.
Yeah. And then you're just like, you just count the sides, maybe do some little bit of
do some cross multiplying.
Yeah, and just like give up a number. Nobody else is going to count it.
Yeah. I mean, that guy didn't know how many tiles were in the basement. But
it's an easy task.
So actual eyeballs, everybody starts freaking out. People are running all around and like terrified and shit. So now Xander and Buffy are walking to the frat party, and Xander is dressed up as James Bond, and he's like, hey, just in case we get turned into our costumes again, I'm gonna be fucking James Bond. It's like, you nailed it with the military guy last time, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Just stick with that costume.
No, because like, why not get spy skills too?
Okay, true.
Yeah,
but Buffy brings up a good point.
Yeah,
Buffy brings up a good point, and she's like, I mean, or you're gonna get the powers of like a head waiter at a restaurant. And Xander's like, as long as I got power.
He's like, this is fine. It's better than turning into like a cat or whatever, almost. There were some weird ones.
Yeah,
demon trolls.
Cordelia was dressed up as a cat,
but she
was the one that didn't turn because she didn't get her costume from Ethan Raine's place.
Because that cat would have been too sexy for TV.
Yeah. So then they run into Willow and Oz, and they're like, "Who are you supposed to be?" And Willow's like, "I'm Joan of Arc," and I feel like we have a lot of similar qualities because, she was burnt. I was almost burned at the stake. Another reference.
Like, they just keep throwing them out. Yeah, it's like 2 in one scene.
I was almost burned at the stake, and I have a close relationship with God. And I was like, what? Since what? What are you talking about? And then Xander looks at Oz, who's just dressed up as normal Oz. And Xander's like, who the hell are you supposed to be? And Oz opens his jacket with a name tag that says, hello, my name is God. Yeah. And they were like, nice, dude.
They pay that off later in a scene where he turns off the music and Buffy goes, thank the Lord. And he goes, you're welcome.
Yeah.
It's like a real nice, like, subtle throw into that.
Yeah.
He's just Jim from The Office,
Yeah. Well, I love that Xander's like, fuck, that's such a better costume than me. I should have been God. And then Oz is like, blasphemy.
Oz has some great lines in this episode.
No, I mean, he always has some great lines, and he's always perfect, which is
this one they actually did he actually had to do some acting in this one. Like, not to say he's not acting all the time, but they actually, they're giving him some stuff to actually chew on.
So the whole gang is like walking, and then Xander's like, hey, hope you don't mind, but, oh no, this isn't yet. They're walking to the frat house, and then out of the bushes come the 3, I'm just going to keep calling them sniper guys. I know it's not sniper rifles.
Yeah, I just don't, like, what are they doing? They just pop out of bushes. They point the guns at, like, the first time we saw them, they pointed their guns at a vampire.
Well, they tased the vampire.
They tased it and then came over and pointed their guns at him after he was tased. Now they just seem to just be walking around with their guns.
Yeah.
Like, they're not even being subtle. They're, like, out in the open.
Well, Buffy was like, hey, nice costumes. And then they just, like, look at her and walk away.
Yeah. If they were just school shooters, they would have been able to just do whatever they wanted. Like, those are real guns.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, in Earshot, they make mention of, like, you know, school shootings are more and more common these days.
Yeah.
But then these guys are just walking around campus with guns.
It doesn't have to be Halloween when they walk around with guns.
Yeah. But anyway, we digress. So then they leave, and then Xander is like, hey, hope you don't mind, but I invited Anya. She's going to meet up with us later. She didn't have a costume, so don't worry about it. And then Buffy's like, great. Now here I am. I'm the only one without a date. Third wheel Buffy. And they're like, you're not a third wheel. And Xander brings up, and this is exactly my thought as soon as she said third wheel. Xander's like, yeah, technically you'd be a fifth wheel.
Xander, I love that Xander went for the joke instead of being like, here's my opportunity to seize on Buffy.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the two of us are here. If Anya doesn't show up.
Do you remember that dating show, Fifth Wheel? That was on like UPN?
Roughly, vaguely.
It was on like after Blind Date and
was Blind Date the one that had the bubbles? The bubbles?
Yeah.
That was a fun... That was a fun, dumb show.
Dating
I don't watch
shows
a lot
back in the day were awesome.
I don't like a lot of reality show, but that Blind Date was a funny one.
Blind Date was great. They always went to a date at a jacuzzi.
Yeah, it always ended in the jacuzzi. It would always be like awkward moment in 3, 2, 1.
Fifth Wheel was good though. I hope that some people know what I'm talking about. But yeah. So they get to the frat party, and the frat party is just in chaos. People are running around screaming. Looks like somebody's dead on the ground there.
There's a dead guy with the eye popped out. The one girl with her hand in the eyeballs is running around.
Yeah. Well, then the guy that I thought had a terrible wig is like running. He's like, I gotta get out of here. He falls down the stairs and like to seemingly his death.
Yeah, neck broken.
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna move right then, but they just like leave on his face.
They leave on his face, and then you hear a voice go, "Release me." I'm like, okay,
all right.
So then the gang arrives, and they're all looking. They're like, oh, this party is kind of dead. Where is everybody? And even Oz is like, yeah, where is everybody? And they enter through the place where the guy just fell down the stairs, and he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And they're looking around. They're like, well, this is pretty fucking dead. I don't hear anybody. This is weird. They keep walking around, and, you know, the little skeleton guy with the knife jumps out, and Xander gets scared, and Willow is like, this is weird. Like, this isn't scary at all. Like, I just walked into a cobweb, but, you know, whatever. And then a real tarantula starts crawling on her shoulder, and he's like, what the hell? This is crazy. And Oz kills it? Does he kill it?
He pushes it off of her shoulder, and she's like, is he gone? And he's like, yeah, it's gone. It's a giant tarantula.
Yeah.
Like, you don't just knock that off and it's like done. Like, you would look on the ground, and Buffy's standing behind him.
Yeah. But then they keep walking around and like, dude, where is everybody? Nobody's here. This is getting pretty fucking suspicious. And they get into like the room where they're supposed to be the party, and they're like, what the fuck's going on here? And then they look up and they hear this like squeaky noise, and Xander's like, oh, this is my patent leather shoes. And Buffy's like, no, shut up, Xander. This is like not your fucking shoes. This is a weird squeaky noise. You hear that? It's a weird squeaking noise.
What's that?
That's from Christmas Vacation.
Okay.
Squirrel. But it's not squirrels.
That's
in
the
this
Chevy
episode.
Chase one, right?
Oh, yeah. It's classic.
You know what? I'm going to say, I'm not a fan of that movie.
Oh, my God.
I know.
Fucking
you know what?
love
I
that
didn't
movie.
I didn't like watch it a lot growing up. Like, I'm a Christmas Story
Oh, okay. See, I've never seen Christmas Story.
Yeah,
and I'd probably not like it if I watched it now.
Exactly. Yeah, and I don't like Chevy Chase. I realized that's what I came to.
Now, is it because of what you've heard of him as a human?
No, just seeing it's kind of like a smug like a European Vacation or Vacation one isn't that bad. I think
the Wally World one.
Yeah, that one I'm fine with, but I don't know. The Christmas one didn't do it for me. Maybe it's the premise of like him just wanting to get a pool for his family.
Well, no, the premise is he wanted to have like a big old-fashioned family Christmas, and then everything keeps going awry.
Yeah, I don't know. It's something about it I didn't like. I've only seen it once, but I know it's a classic.
It's good. It's good. I know the Christmas Story is a classic. I've never seen it.
I'm sure there's people that don't like it. They made a remake. They made a sequel of it this year, which is crazy.
I think we both and everyone can agree, though, It's a Wonderful Life sucks balls. That movie fucking stinks.
Wow, we've gone off the rails. But I will say this. A Wonderful Life, I've only seen it maybe once. As a premise, I get it. I think it holds up better for its time. It wasn't a hit when it came out. It actually did really bad. It did really bad when it came out. And then it got replayed, and then it became like a Christmas staple.
Yeah, I mean, the message of it, I get.
Yeah, the message of it's fine. Yeah.
The movie, terrible. But anyway, it's a bunch of bats in the ceiling.
Shadow bats.
Yeah, little bats CGI bats that drop from the ceiling, and they're like, whoa, this is crazy. And then after the bats dissipate, there's a little rubber bat left on the ground, and Oz picks it up. He's like, it's fucking rubber. Like, what's going on here? This isn't right. Xander's like, oh, maybe it's just a trick. And they're like, no, Xander, we're on a hellmouth. And he's like, you're right.
Yes, stop. Why do people who have seen everything ever try to doubt it?
Yeah.
You have a demon showing up to meet you.
So now the gang is all suspicious. They're all like, something's up. Don't like where this is going. But we go back outside, and now Anya is showing up to the party, and she is in an enormous bunny costume.
Looking creepy as hell. That is the creepiest thing that you would see that night.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so big that she can't even walk correctly.
Yeah, I was wondering why she was walking weird.
She's walking. I mean, it's like a Teletubby costume. Like, it's got a big belly and stuff.
But the mask is like really simple. It's just like tied with a bow underneath their chin.
Yeah.
Like, so it's not like her face is fully exposed.
Yeah. And she's just walking up, and she walks up to the frat house, and there's no door. She's like, what the hell? How do you get in? She starts knocking on the wall, and she's like, Xander, let me in.
See, she's smart enough to know where doors should be on houses.
So then she like walks to the outside off of the porch, and she like is like, where's the fucking entrance? How do I get into this place? She looks up, and there's a girl screaming in a window. She's like, help, please, save me, please. And Anya's looking up at her like, oh, this is kind of scary. I get how this would be spooky. And then cement blocks just like close where the window was. And then Anya looks at that and she's like, oh, this isn't normal.
Randomness. Who's covering up these murders? Like, I understand the mayor and the principal are covering these up, but who's covering up these? Like, there's a lot of dead students.
But are there, or is it just their nightmare shit going on?
I think that one dude definitely broke his neck.
That fell off down the stairs?
Yeah. I didn't see him again.
Well, I mean, there was another girl that had like blood dripping from her mouth earlier too, and I was like, is she dead?
Yeah, I don't know.
Dead.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever. So now the gang is back inside, and we're back inside the house, and they're all suspicious. Like, we need to get out of here. This is fucking too weird. And then they try to find the exit, and they can't find a way out. So they're walking around. They're like, we walked in a circle. This is where the door used to be. There's no door anymore. And then so they hear a little whimpering. They hear a little like squeaking, a little hissing.
Xander's shoes again.
Yep. And Xander's like, I hear that hissing. And Willow's like, yeah, it's like... And Xander's like, I think I covered that pretty well when I said hissing. So they go over to a closet, and inside the closet is a dude named Chaz. And he's like, oh, God, oh, please, oh, God, oh, God. And they're like, what happened to you, Chaz? And he's like, it's alive. It's alive. And then we see the little plastic skeleton guy with the knife transform into a actual like crypt keeper looking skeleton guy.
Which looked really nice. It was a really good transition from like panning down, seeing the knife, panning up, the real eyeball in it.
Yeah, it was a good effect.
Yeah, I liked
it. And it moved pretty well.
Mm-hmm. That was good animatronic. I like it.
Yeah. So then they're like, Chaz, what are you talking about? What's going on, man? And he's like, it's alive. It's alive. Ah! And the skeleton comes from behind with his giant knife and stabs Buffy in the back.
Chaz does not. And I think this might be the only thing that like connects to this episode with Angel is people being attacked and the person seeing the attack doing nothing.
Yeah.
like he sees that and he doesn't say, hey girl, there's a guy with a knife about to stab you.
He's too traumatized.
And then he stabs her.
Yeah.
So Buffy's dead.
Yeah. Luckily, her Little Red Riding Hood cape is made of Kevlar.
Her mom spent all day reinforcing that thing.
So ridiculous.
Like I don't know. She punches the head off the thing after that.
Yeah, she turns around, punches his head off, and then they're like, "Oh my God, Buffy, you got stabbed!" And she's like, "Don't worry, the cape got most of it." What? So they're like, oh man, everything's coming alive. This is craziness. And then they're talking and Chaz goes back into the closet because he hears a girl scream.
That was one of the funniest things. Like they have this shot of all of them and then in the background you just see him walk into the closet and close the door.
Yeah.
It was the funniest moment.
And then so they're all like, oh man, we got to go and investigate what's going on up there. We got to go upstairs to see where that girl is screaming. And then they're like, well, what about Chaz? And Oz is like, he's back in the closet. Don't worry about it. And then they're like, what closet? And then now the closet's gone.
Yeah.
Which later, is Chaz.
Because there's a shot next to it of, because I went back. There's the shot, the wall that the closet was at, next to it is like a mummy in a casket and it's like former pledge.
Yeah.
Is that? So I was like, wait, is that him? No. That was just a design. Like I wasn't sure what I was supposed to look at right there.
I was waiting for that mummy to come to life, that little former pledge thing, but it never does.
No.
So, yeah, the closet disappears and Buffy goes through her little basket, and in her basket she's brought a bunch of weapons. She pulls out a little crossbow.
I love that she brings weapons and she always only grabs one of them.
Yeah.
She'll bring 20 weapons and she's like, this one.
Take the whole basket, dude.
Have like a couple steaks on you.
Give some of the weapons to the others.
Oh my God, yeah. Divvy them out to the non-slayers in the group.
Yeah. But Buffy's
the problem is they don't even ask for weapons.
Yeah, I mean, they're like,
if you're Xander, you're just a dude in a suit. Like, give me something.
Yeah. I mean, Buffy should give those weapons out. She should be the one without a weapon. Yeah, because she's got super strength.
Yeah.
Whatever. But Buffy's like, this isn't making sense, and we need to find the only person we can rely on in times like this, the only person who can make sense of this. And then it cuts to Giles in his sombrero at home eating from his bowl of candy. Great cut.
Yeah. You knew it was coming, though.
Yeah. And so Giles is there, blissfully unaware of all the craziness that's happening. He's eating his candy and he hears a knock at the door and he gets up and he's like, ooh, happy Halloween. Opens the door and it's Anya in her bunny suit. And he's like, oh, Anya, what are you doing here? And she's like, Xander's in trouble. We need to rescue Xander. And he's like, I'm sure Xander's fine. Where's the rest of them? She's like, they're with Xander too. We need to rescue them too, I guess. But most importantly, Xander.
I really want to know Giles' thoughts on this Anya Xander thing. Because he doesn't like Xander that much.
Yeah.
But like he also has to be like, Anya is a mess.
Well, didn't Anya like punch him in the face when he summoned her or something?
They got in a fight. Yeah. Trying to choke him out.
Yeah, they were fighting in his house.
Like she appeared to him in that corner in the future. Well, this version didn't ever punch her.
Yeah.
It was a different version.
It was Wishverse Giles. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like Giles is like, you know what? Fucking the Slayer was dating a vampire.
I'm cool with Angel, who killed my girl.
Yeah, Angel killed my girlfriend. Willow's a witch that's dating a werewolf. You know, fuck it at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's just like, whatever now.
Yeah. It's weird that Anya, Anya hated men before, right? But she had this weird affection for Xander.
Well, she has a weird affection for Xander because she became a teenage girl, and she found him attractive because the human version of her found Xander attractive. And Xander seems like he's growing up and maturing and looking a lot better, in general. He definitely looks more like an adult. Like he looked like an adult before, but he looks like he's definitely like going to a job.
Yeah.
Like he's definitely not like a college student either.
But wouldn't you think that Anya would still hate the rest of men?
Yes. I think she might still. I haven't seen anything that says that she does. She wants to save Xander, who she likes, because he seems like one of the nice guys, even though he was the reason for the wish.
Yeah.
For cheating. But I think she's not cool with Giles.
Okay.
Yeah, she only is using Giles to save Xander.
Okay.
Yeah. Even though it's weird that she used to be a demon and has no other connections.
Yeah.
But you need to get Giles in here.
Yeah, but Giles is like, oh, okay, well, what happened? She's like, I was at the house, there was no door. And Giles is like, okay, maybe you just didn't know where the door was. And she's like, no, but then I saw a window get boarded up and with bricks. And Giles is like, oh, okay, that sounds like this spell. Let me grab my books. Let me grab my books and get some supplies and let's head over there.
I mean, he would make an excellent doctor. You go in and be like, my stomach hurts a little bit. He's like, okay, this is what it is.
Yeah. Well, he's like a good father figure at this point. He's like, don't worry, Xander's going to be fine. Let's just get our books. Let's go.
Well, he brings up he's with friends.
Yeah.
And she's like, wait, friends? Friends are helpful? That's her lesson for the episode, I guess.
So then we go back to the gang in the haunted house, and Buffy and Willow are arguing about their plan of attack. And Buffy's like, no, I'm going to go out alone. Everybody stay here. And Willow's like, no, we're not going to stay here. You're not, just because you're the Slayer doesn't mean that you're not the boss of me now and you're not so big. And Buffy's like,
Malcolm in the middle.
Yeah. We're referencing as much as this episode referenced.
Yeah, just referencing everything.
And Buffy's like, well, I am the Slayer and I am more powerful than you all. And fucking you all should stay here. And Willow's like, I'm a witch. I have an idea. We should bring about this witch thing.
Guiding something? The guiding
some
spell?
Kind of guiding spell that'll guide them out of there. And Buffy's like, look, Willow, you've only mastered a couple of fucking spells, and to be honest, you haven't even mastered those. They're about 50-50, so why don't you shut the hell up and let me take over?
When this fight happened, I was like, this is almost coming out of nowhere. Like, at first it started out with the, like, I can't do my job with you guys around, which is, like, not the case. You take her to the graveyard all the time.
Yep.
Like, you guys have done so many things together. So I was like, why are they hashing this? And then the witch thing comes up, and then Buffy says 50-50. I'm like, she brought Angel's soul back.
You're right.
Like, they saved your life 2 episodes ago.
She killed a vampire with a floating pencil.
Giles and her managed to get your soul saved from your roommate.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
It was a low blow by Buffy.
Yeah.
But Willow screams, I'm not your sidekick.
I'm like, you
definitely are. You definitely are. It's the show isn't called Willow the Bad Witch. It's Willow
the Bad Witch and her friend Buffy the Slayer.
Yeah. But Willow and Oz go in a separate direction as Buffy, and then Xander follows Buffy, and Xander is like, look, I know this is a tense moment, Buffy, but I just want you to know I always got your back and I'll always be here with you. And Buffy's like, Xander, where are you? Where'd you go? And Xander's like, really funny, Buffy. Okay. And Buffy's like, nah, I can't. Xander, you stupid idiot. You always wander off. And Xander's like, wait a minute. What the hell? What's going on here? You can't see or hear me. Buffy. And he goes running after her.
This is where the episode gets really good.
Yeah.
This sequence coming up I thought was really, really good.
Yeah.
And that was a cool twist of him not being there and it's all like in one shot.
Well, he like chases after her and he loses her and then he's just alone.
Yeah. But I thought he was going to hit like one of those like force field master walls, you know? They're like, oh, or like he was going to try to turn and hit a wall, but he's like in the frame with her.
Yeah.
And he never gets a thing where he tries to touch her and his hand goes through or anything, but he's just like, he's there and she doesn't notice him. And it's like, all right, this is interesting.
Yeah. So he's like wandering around alone like, oh shit, this is kind of spooky and I don't like this. Then Willow and Oz are walking around and Willow's, still bitching about Buffy. She's like, I can't believe her. She thinks that I'm not a good witch. I'm a good witch. I'll show her. I'm going to do this freaking guiding light spell anyway. And Oz is like, all right, let's calm down, everybody. Let's get cooler heads. Yeah. And Willow walks up some stairs and then Oz is walking after her and he looks down at his hands and he's transforming into a werewolf. Yeah. And he's like, shit. What's happening right now? Mm-hmm. Very cool. Strange things are happening. And then he also notices, like, we were here before and there were windows here. Where are the windows? There's no windows in here anymore. And they're like, oh, that's crazy. And then he finally catches up with Willow and he's like, Willow, I can't be around you right now. I gotta go. I'm starting to change. He shows her his hands, which are all covered in werewolf scruff, and his face is changing now. He's got the crazy sideburns and black eyes. And Willow's like, no, Oz, no. And he's like, Willow, I can't be here. You got to get away from me in case something happens. And she's like, no, Oz, stay with me. Stay with me. And then he just scratches her hand. He's like, get the hell away from me.
I do like Oz's half werewolf look.
It did look pretty cool.
I do like it.
We bashed like the werewolf look a couple of times in a couple of different scenarios, but this one looks pretty neat.
Yeah.
So after Oz runs away, Xander is looking at himself in a mirror and he's like, well, I can see me. I at least have that, but nobody else can fucking see me. And in the background is like a decoration of like a guy's severed head with an eyeball poking out of his face, and he's like, I can see you too. And Xander's like, fuck.
I thought that was great because they set him up. He was like, that head was on the table when the Rastafarian frat guy fell down the steps.
Yeah.
But
no, that wasn't the Rastafarian frat, was it?
Oh, no. It was like there in that scene.
It was like in the
table.
Centerpiece. Yeah,
exactly. Like this guy with his eye popping out or something. I did love the I can see you.
Yeah.
I just think this whole sequence of like him being a werewolf and like all this weird stuff happening is like really cool. Really well done.
I like the next one where Oz is in the tub and he's just like, you're not going to change. You're not going to change. I was like, whoa, this is getting dark, dude.
Right? Like I was like, they made him like, and he sells it too. Like,
yeah,
he's concerned is like, we've never seen Oz worried.
Yeah.
And this is as worried as I've ever seen him.
Yeah, he looks really freaked out. Like, oh, this isn't right. Like, well, because Willow mentions like previous, she's like, it's not a full moon. Yeah. Like, why are you changing? You can't be changing. And Oz is like, I don't know what the fuck's going on right now.
Yeah.
But get away from me. Mm-hmm. But yeah, him in that tub, I was like, whoa, this is dark.
Yeah.
So Buffy is now walking around alone, and she has her little fucking crossbow, and she starts to hear Willow screaming. Mm-hmm. Or no. She doesn't hear Willow screaming at this point. Buffy's still walking around alone. Willow is alone. She starts the spell. She's like, I'm going to show all these people. I'm going to do this guiding light spell. She starts the spell, and a little firefly comes out, and she's like, oh, okay, perfect. This is great. The spell worked. All right. I need you to lead me to Oz. And then the firefly starts to go around, and then Willow's like, wait, no, I should find everybody else. Lead me to the rest of the people, Xander and Buffy. And then as she's saying this, the firefly is like multiplying. And Willow's like, wait a second. Oh, shit. Oh, no, I fucked this up. Oh, and then it just keeps multiplying. And then there's a bunch of fireflies, and they start to surround her and like cover her face. And one flies into her mouth, and she starts choking on it. And I was like, whoa, this is getting... Would you believe your eyes if you saw 10 million fireflies, Vance?
If I was a super witch, sure.
But then she is running around screaming like, Oz, help, I need your help, Oz, Oz. And this is where Buffy hears her and she's like, Willow, oh, I can hear you. And she starts to follow where Willow is, and she's chasing it, and she busts open a door, and she falls into a basement, and she's like kind of knocked out in this basement. She's like, oh God, what the hell?
I love she keeps going, this must be the basement. This must be the basement. I was like, okay, you weren't looking for the basement.
This basement looks oddly like the Kralik basement too.
Yeah. I mean, it's got a lot of similarities. You can almost see the a little bit of that hospital basement thing that's set up from when she broke that demon's neck. A little bit of that. I mean, it's a set. It's fine. It's cool.
But there she is, like, falls right into like a tombstone. She's lying like above a grave that's in the basement, and there's a tombstone behind her. And I couldn't make out what the tombstone said, but then some guy with his neck snapped. Is it the guy that fell down the stairs?
Yeah.
Well, I was confused because he's wearing a different outfit now.
Yeah, I think once his hat flew off, I don't know. It's him. It's that guy.
But he's like, oh yeah, they ran away from you, and they'll always run away, and you should never open your heart and trust anybody. And Buffy's like, no. And then a bunch of hands pop up from under the ground and start grabbing at Buffy and trying to pull her down, I guess. And she's like, no. And then she crawls.
Ooh, this ties in with Angel.
Yeah. She crawls to a pitch black hole in the wall. Which, in a nightmare house, why would you do that?
Yeah, I was like, you know what, Buffy? Just keep fighting him. You're stronger than these demons. You fought vampires. You fought 5 vampires. You fought your way out of hell.
Well, the guy with the broken neck is like, you can't keep fighting forever.
Well, and he's really just digging in her insecurities of like, stuff she dealt with Parker and her dad, and like he's really just trolling her like that.
Yeah. So she goes and she goes crawling towards the pitch black door. Now we go back outside, and Giles and Anya are outside the house, and Giles is like, well, this is where the door should be. So this is what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to do some kind of spell here. Let me open my book. Okay. It says that we need to create a door. And Anya's like, okay, that's going to be pretty hard. How are you going to do that? You're going to be able to do that? And Giles is like, will I ever be able to create a door? Goes over to his bag, throws out a couple of stakes and stuff behind him, and then he whips out a fucking chainsaw, and he's like, takes the chainsaw to this wall, starts fucking chainsawing it down, dude.
Chainsaw Giles is awesome. I love that there's like a magic spell, but the spell can be broken by physical chainsaw.
Yeah.
Also, I love the fact that he packed up all that stuff with her there, and she did not notice he packed a chainsaw.
Yeah, no.
That's
a pretty big item.
He just knew he needed a chainsaw.
Yeah.
It's great.
But then we go back inside, and Buffy has crawled through the dark hole, and it led her to some room. She closes the door behind her, and she goes, this is the goat room. I'm in the goat room. Okay.
Oh, did you notice when she climbs through that little entrance, the door she closes is like 2 times her height?
Yep. I
was like, all right. It's Magic World. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah. They're in a nightmare spooky house.
It's like an Alice in Wonderland situation.
So when she's in the goat room, she snaps out of like the nightmare scenario, and she just sees everybody in there terrified. She's walking around. She sees Willow, hallucinating. Everyone in there is basically hallucinating their worst fears.
Yeah.
And then she snaps Willow out of it. Oz snaps Willow out of it. Xander shows up, and everybody snapped out of it. There's a good moment where Xander's just like sitting on the ground, and then he's like, oh, you fucking, none of you can hear me or see me. You don't care about old no college going, Xander. I'm just some townie. And then Buffy is like, what's the matter with you? And he's like, oh, you can see me. Okay, cool. Forget everything I just said. All the insults I was just hurling at you.
She was like, done and done.
Yep. And then so Buffy's like, okay, this is freaky. We all snapped out of our crazy nightmares, but we were all brought here to this room for something. So we're not out of the darkness yet. And they're like, oh, shit. And then that's when you hear, release me, even louder. And then they're like, okay, we need to freaking get out of here. We need to get out of here now. They start to walk towards the door where that Buffy just came through. And Giles kicks it down, and he's got his big old friggin' chainsaw, and he looks like a badass motherfucker.
He hasn't looked this good since he went to kick Angel's ass after killing Jenny Calendar.
Yeah, with the flaming bat.
Yeah, coming through the smoke. And this one, he's all like backlit, like a Terminator killer or something.
Yeah, man. It looks so dope. He's got that chainsaw. He looks enormous,
and he's got the jacket. Too. He's got the coat. Yeah.
Yeah, so he kicks down the door, and they're like, Giles! And then Anya runs from the back, and she's like, Xander! And she hugs Xander. And he's like, oh, okay, you're here. Huh, interesting. And then Giles comes in. He's like, well, the spell's not over because the door closed behind me. But at least we're here now. And he walks over to the book of where, they found the pentagram. And he's like, all right, this is the mark of Gaknar, yeah. Gaknar. And he goes, all right, this is a way. Here is how we do this. He wants to be released. And if we release him, he's going to take over the body of somebody. And we can't have that happen.
They didn't say he was going to take over the body. It was just like, this is what he looks like. And they just show a picture of him. She's like, I don't want to fight him. She's like, yeah, release him. I'll beat him up. And it's like, oh, God, I don't want to fight that. Which I was like, it doesn't look that scary than anything else we've seen.
Yeah.
But yeah. Right. So, and I love that they have perfect drawings in these books.
Yeah. But then Giles is like, got his books, and he's like, all right, here is how we break the spell of Gaknar. There are 2 ways to destroy it. And destroying the mark of Gaknar, Buffy hears that, walks over to the pentagram, punches a hole right through it. She's like, done. And Giles is like, is not the way to destroy it. In fact, that is how it becomes released.
This moment is made so much better by Buffy's smug look of satisfaction when she smashes it. She comes up and she like hands on the hips, looks over at Giles like, done and done.
And then he's like, is not how to destroy it. And then she looks like, oh.
Like, I want to be mad at Giles for not like finishing the statement, but I don't think he's. She just starts walking over there, and it's just so funny.
It was great. I laughed out loud.
Yeah.
And then so they're like, oh shit. So that's what releases him. And then they all stand around the pentagram and they look down. And as soon as they all started looking down, I knew what was going to happen.
Yep.
Gaknar gets released, and he is like 4 inches tall. And he's like, all of you, tremble before me. I am the nightmare demon Gaknar. And they're all looking at him like, is this for real?
It's done so well because they do the close-up of the face, of it getting bigger and coming up in the frame. And there's like a close-up of the wires around his face. It's like tiny little mouth. Like, it's really well designed.
Yeah.
But you just from having seen stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I was just like, as soon as they did that, I was like, oh, he's going to be tiny, isn't he?
Yeah.
But it's like a great reveal.
I knew that they were going to do something goofy with him.
I also knew there wasn't time for an extended fight scene because it was like 4 minutes left.
So they all look down at them like, oh, he's so tiny. And then Xander kneels down, or he squats down and goes, who's a good little demon? Who's a good little tiny demon? And then Giles goes, Xander, stop taunting the demon. And Xander stands up all worried and he goes, can he attack me or something? Is he going to beat me up? And Giles goes, No, it's just tacky. And I fucking howled. And then they were like, oh, so but this is Gak, and the whole time Gaknar's like, tremble before me! Yeah. Tremble before me!
Does Gaknar realize he has more powers not being around?
Yeah. So they're all like talking like, well, what should we do? And Buffy's like, I got an idea what we should do. And she just stomps on it and it dies.
I was like, she has to stomp on it. That's what you do with anything small, right?
Oh, yeah.
But my thing is like, someone drew a picture of this demon, saw it, and didn't just kill it.
Yep.
Like, how did you even get an image? And to have the detail that they had, you would have to really like have it in a jar. And like you would have to get close to get that level of detail in that image.
But Buffy stomps on it. That's the end of Gaknar. They all go back to Giles's house. They all start eating candy. They're like, well, there's no problem that can't be solved with candy. Xander is just staring at Anya, who's still in her bunny costume.
Off his fingers.
Yeah. And I was like, what is about to happen here?
Yeah, I was like, is he super turned on by this bunny suit? Like, I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, is Xander a furry?
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was going to be something like Xander was going to be like, you really came to save me. Like, you really care about me. That's what I thought was about to happen.
I thought it was going to be like a attracted to bunny situation.
But instead, he goes, so I gave you all day to think up a scary costume. And a bunny rabbit is the best you could come up with? And Anya goes, I'm scared of bunnies. Fair enough.
Yeah. That was literally my thought. I was like, all right.
And then Giles from behind goes, oh, son of a bitch. I should have translated the fucking text that's directly underneath the picture of Gaknar. And then they show it. And then Buffy's like, yeah, what's it say? And he goes, it says actual size. And he storms off. And that is the episode.
I think they could have had a better tag than that because it was already like, we got the joke that it was small. I didn't think we needed like, oh, you didn't get it. Because you know what's crazy? When Willow looks at the book at first and she goes like, oh, it's in Gaelic. And then Buffy says, oh, can you translate Gaelic? She's like, a little. I'm like, man, really?
Yeah.
You really shouldn't have gone to UC Sunnydale.
Overall, though, a fun episode. I enjoyed this one a lot.
I enjoyed this one, too. It's I didn't realize it was going to be a Halloween one.
Me neither. Their Halloween episodes are pretty sick.
Have they only done one?
Yeah, I think it's the Ethan Rain one and this one.
Yeah.
They got a good track record.
Christmas hasn't been great.
Christmas episodes have not been great. Christmas episodes have been trash.
Yeah, so...
But yeah, that is it. You have anything else to say about Fear itself, Vance?
Not really. It's a fun episode. I really thought they did a good job of actually having the Fear itself montage where everyone's afraid of certain things and going crazy.
Yeah, completely agree. Next episode, Vance, is titled Beer Bad.
I'm going to say this is like band candy. It's going to be like Ethan Rain's back at a frat party.
I'm going to say, oh, that's a great prediction. I was going to say Buffy's going to get drunk and confront Parker, and it's just going to be embarrassing for her and be like, you fucking let me played me. And he's going to be like, whoa, what's up with you, clingy? You know?
Whatever gets us past the Parker thing. Whatever gets Buffy past the Parker thing, I'm all for. I'm ready for her to get onto new adventures.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, Beer Bad could be. I mean, that's a great title.
Beer Bad.
Beer Bad is a great title. I don't know if it could be something with the Anya.
What if there's like a dog or something that drinks beer and then they're like, no, beer bad.
so the dog forms like a weird association with alcohol.
Yeah. well, we haven't seen any of the characters drinking.
They were drinking at the party that Spike was at, I'm sure.
You think so?
Oh, you mean our characters drank?
Like, they haven't, like, openly been like, here, drink some beer. You know what I mean?
Because we thought maybe they were drinking at the Bronze, but then...
Yeah, they had, like, maybe red Solo cups at that party.
Yeah, the red Solo cup parties, man. I was definitely playing some beer pong this past weekend, actually.
Oh, yeah? Did you win?
At a friend's party. Oh, yeah.
Or did you get skunked and had to run around naked?
No. We don't play strip beer pong.
No, dude, that's the rule. Is like if you get all of your opponents before they get any of yours, the rule is you're supposed to take a lap naked around the house or whatever.
Have never played that rule, but there are so many different house rules. There were so many different house rules in this place.
Really?
At my friend's party. Like overtime was like 3 cups and 1 stacked on the top of it. I had never played
I'd never seen that.
Yeah. And you have to hit that one before you can start hitting the other 3.
I thought that the skunk was like a pretty universal rule.
No. I think rollbacks are universal.
Listeners, if you've heard of the beer pong skunked rule, where if you take out all of your opponent's cups and they take out none of yours, your opponent needs to do a lap around the house naked, let me know. Because I was at a party where that happened.
No. I was at a party where like Jenga, it was like dirty Jenga, and someone pulled the wrong card and they had to like walk out naked. And I didn't think they were going to do it. And then they come out of the shadows with their hand over their crotch naked. I'm like, what's happening? I was like, no one's going to hold you to that.
Everybody listening, we're party boys.
We've lived lives.
We've seen a lot of nudity at parties.
All right, we gotta.
All right, yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening, everybody. Subscribe to our Discord. Subscribe to our Patreon. Rate and review if you want to get a just review on Apple Podcasts. No, you have to give a rating. You have to give a rating to get to do the review anyway. So rate and review to get the shout out.
Have you rated our podcast? Because I haven't.
No, that's tacky.
I know, right?
You can't do that. Maybe I'll do it now, though.
We'll do it right when it's
Here's a shout out to Joe Welke. Next episode. These guys are great.
Yeah. I don't like it, the co-host, but Joe's great.
I especially agree with that Joe's wish take.
Yeah, we'll know they're a troll. Like anybody agrees, we know that's a troll. That's Joe's burner account.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. We got some sirens going off in the background here.
They're ushering us out of this firehouse that we record these in.
Yeah. So if you want to follow the Instagram at Boys Watching Buffy, boyswatchingbuffy@gmail.com. And stay tuned for next time when we talk about beer bad.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm still a little gun shy. It certainly didn't help that my last boyfriend turned out to be a homicidal robot.
Tune into the Salsa Kings Network. Crack one open if you dare, creeps.